Hello to everybody that may be watching this later on. Hello to you all. I'm just going to wait for a few people to join. And as always, it's a very unexpected live, but I just wanted to relay a tiny bit of information that I received last night from my consciousness. And so I'm just hopping on to support you by sharing that with you as a heads up. I didn't expect to be on today. Please excuse me. I'm not well at the moment physically, and so I'm very tired and in a bit of physical discomfort. But you know, the thing is with the path is that when you have a desire to help people and support them, you know, sometimes your physical can sort of be pushed out of the way because the message needs to be at least given so that people have an awareness, and they can do with what they want, you know, in terms of the information. It's just a sharing, and it's a very neutral sharing, as always, because consciousness is neutral. It just gives you information in such neutrality. So, as I say, forgive me for looking so sleepy and not being too well, but here we go. So, the short piece of information I received last night from my consciousness is that I just want to get this correct in my way of saying it as it was said to me. Is that the level of chaos on the outside is now going to increase. That was it. But I want to explain it because obviously I understand my consciousness and everything it's shared so far within these 12 years. So if we look back to March 2023, that really was around the time that the timeline of tribulation started. And as I've explained since then, it's going to be about 3 years of tribulation for the collective and at individual level. And it's very individual. I do want to sort of go into the individualities of people's experiences a little bit because we're all different and we all experience life differently, and we react to everything differently. So the message is that, you know, what's been happening since March last year is gradually, the intensity of humanness, of human emotions, of the mentality within people, the intensity has gradually been increasing. Okay. And I've known all along that we'll reach this midpoint of intensity, a midpoint. So I'm making that presumption that my consciousness letting me know last night that outwardly the world is going to go into, humans are going to go into seemingly far more chaos. You know, I can see that we are getting closer and closer to that midpoint of the greatest point of intensity within humanity. And it is, as I say, it's an intensity that not everybody goes through. But since March last year, you know, the energies, the incoming energies have been getting greater and greater and greater. The strength has been increasing, the frequency has been increasing, and I can easily say that since the 21st of June, when I mentioned in a written post that we had had a shift, it was an individual shift for each person, but I can easily say that since the 21st of June, the energies have been unabating. I physically feel them every single moment of the day, and I trace the vibrations of them because I physically feel the vibrations and the patterns and the frequencies, and the strength. So since the 21st of June, it really has been quite relentless, but it's also been so varied. The vibrations have been so varied. It changes throughout the day, and the strength changes throughout the day, but it is nevertheless a bombardment of energy. And it is, in my own personal opinion, the increase in energies that are creating, are underlying the mental or the emotional intensities within human beings. You see, some people can integrate energy very easily. Some people will struggle by degrees. Some people will be completely unaware of the increase in energies that we've had since 2012 onwards. Excuse me a second. And so if you're unaware of energies, then you've only got your human to go by, and that can be, an intensity of any type of human emotion, intensity of thoughts, intensity of imbalanced thoughts, and of course all of those thoughts that go on within a person, that person then gets to choose whether to speak those thoughts to another, to several, to a group, to a country, to a world, and then from those spoken thoughts there is then actions, such as the intensity of war, which I said would happen last year. Yeah. So it's, even though it seems, it's easy, I feel, if it's okay to say this, because I say this with love and care for everybody, but it's easy to look out onto the collective and say, oh well, it's going to get more intense out there. But really, it's to be, on the worldwide stage, within countries, country against country, within the country, the upsurge of intensities that are going on inside individual countries. It's easy to look out on the world stage and look at that, but actually it's to understand that the energy, how that starts is from the energy within the one person, and then it escalates and escalates and grows into groups, and then groups have the same opinion and the same stance, and it's all polarities, it's one polarity against the other. And so we're sort of seeing the extremes of polarities in this timeline, and that chaos, I call it chaos, it's only chaos at a human perceptual level, okay? Because beyond that chaos is actually a very, very beautifully defined design of the Creator. So in a sense, there's no chaos. At a higher level of perception, there is absolutely no chaos. And some people will not feel the chaos because they're just the observer of all of the outside, and they're the observer at the individual, daily, family, friendship level, and they are the observer of their self. They're always coming from the self, from the consciousness that observes. So it's almost like everything is consciously at a more of a distance. They're less involved. So even though I'm aware, this is why I've come on, is to let you know that the intensity within humanity at individual levels, whether it's countries, political systems, families, friends, partners, blah, 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 that intensity is going to go up now. And just to make you aware of that, that's why I've come on. I actually feel, and I know this is only my own perception, okay, but I actually feel that we're now at a timeline where there's very little that we can do to support, except, support one another, except to choose ourselves, what we wish to be, to stay focused on the inner path of why you're each here, and to make that your focus now. And I say this because, a few years ago I did have a learning dream about this timeline, and it really seems to me that it really is about just allowing everybody their journey, Some people have chosen to experience intensity at a soul level. They've chosen to experience it. And, it doesn't matter how many lives I've done over the years, explaining the human, explaining behaviors, explaining beliefs, explaining forgiveness, judgment, love, such a long list of lives that I've done over the years. I know easily, because I observe, that people are in intensity still, and looking at the outside and putting the outside down, or blaming another person, or blaming a country, or a government, or a business, or just blaming the outside, or judging the outside, or putting the outside down. And what gets forgotten in this timeline, where all of that has increased within the spiritual arena, it's got louder and louder in the last year, but what gets forgotten is to look at self. As I've shared, in so many videos, to look at self. Because if there's a trigger from your outside of any kind, whether it's the world stage or family, friends, if there's a trigger, if you are triggered, then it's because there's something running in you. It's a program in you, a belief system in you that is opposing the other. And so another can say something, and then you hear it, and it just like hits you. It should just be energy that another is speaking, and in your neutrality, in just being an observer, that just flows past, and you don't give it a thought. You're just allowing the other to be what they are, without it affecting you. And so we can see on social media, especially in the last year, it's got so loud. Finger pointing, putting people down, and those people can't see, or can't sort of take that moment to go, okay, hold on, Why am I needing to put that person down? Why am I needing to judge the outer? What is it in me that is being triggered to then speak or to write? Why am I even giving my focus on a state of consciousness, a paradigm that is fast dissolving? I think that's another part that gets forgotten, is that it's us that changes. Yeah. Each and every one listening, it's you that change. And then your consciousness changes, your perception changes, you become peace. It's not a peace you're seeking, it is you. It comes from within you, it's your state of being. And so no matter what happens in this multi-dimensional experience of this whole collective of humanity, no matter what happens, you're staying in peace. You're holding that energy. And it's that energy that others rise to, the same peace. You're holding compassion. So much compassion. Because you know what it's like to be, unaware. You know what it's like to perhaps, be in a state of consciousness that we call unawakened. I was in a state of being unawakened. I can have complete compassion for thinking that there is just this world, and hopefully, if I'm a good girl, I'll go to heaven when I pass away, It's this tiny little world that you live in. So I have compassion for anyone that is unawakened, because you don't know anything else. So whilst we are going to go in to, the collective and individuals, and this includes awakened people, are going to go into more chaos, more mental, upset, difficulties, trauma in the mind through their thoughts. Whilst that is happening and will continue to happen as we carry on towards the peak of intensity, what is also happening, but so much more quietly, because it is quiet, is the rise in each person's consciousness. And it is quiet because it happens within you. It comes from within you. And your state of being changes, and you receive that internal peace that never leaves you. You reach the state of bliss. And at first that bliss just comes in and it's fleeting, and then it's gone, and then it comes in and it's fleeting, and then it's gone, and then it sustains you. The more you choose it, the more you choose to be your highest state of consciousness and what that actually is, the more you become it. But you don't become it by immersing into the outside world of a dissolving consciousness state. It's dissolving, and it's not pretty for some people, it's difficult, but it is dissolving, and it takes time. That's the whole point of this experience, is it's unfolding like a movie screen over time. It's not instant, but it's you that changes. It's your consciousness that changes. And then you perceive everything so differently from this complete state of peace. So no matter what arises, you're still in peace. You don't look for peace by the outside or by other people, The happiness is from within you, not based on the outside or what you're receiving or what you have. It's all from within you. You're happy for no reason whatsoever. You're at peace for no reason whatsoever. And the more you choose that, the more you rise and rise as an energy frequency. It's your energy that is rising and rising. And that is why it is difficult for some people. And it will be difficult for some people in these next few months ahead. It's the inability to cope with the rising energies that Mother Earth is receiving. It's just hard to cope with it for some people. And we will see the escalation of that on the world stage. So to try, for your own peace of mind, for your own well-being, for your own mental well-being and feeling good, not from the ego of, oh, I feel great and, I love myself and all of that, that's just the ego. But just for your own well-being, to choose, be aware of your choices, of what you're focusing on in the months to come. What are you giving focus to? What are you choosing to speak about or think about? And what are you choosing to do? This is the lifetime. You've come for this lifetime to become that remembered state of consciousness that is always, always connected to the Creator, to the one God. We're not here to change the old reality. That's what human beings have tried to do for thousands and thousands of years by fighting each other, at a world level, and then at individual or group levels or family levels by fighting each other. And then at a personal level by fighting yourself. By fighting yourself, putting yourself down. We're not here to change what was. We're here to bring in the new. And that's you. It's you that changes. So to just be aware in the months to come that it is your choice. There's no right or wrong choice. There never has been. It's always Source experiencing itself through you and you and you and everyone. But if you're wanting the change, then just to try and understand the change doesn't come by fighting the old. It comes by being the change. By being that higher frequency version. And as that frequency version, all those lower emotions that I've spoken about, in many, many videos, they just don't exist. It's not that you couldn't possibly access them, because I'm sure you could, but it's just that they don't arise. Anger doesn't arise. Conflict doesn't arise in the higher frequencies of self. And you embody those higher frequencies of love, of peace, of harmony within you. You're the change. So just to be aware, the next few months at least, we're going to see an escalation of, I'm using the word chaos because that's the word my consciousness gave me. The outer is going to get more chaotic. Just to be aware of that and make your highest choice. The game, or the game that some people are out of now, but a lot of people are still in, the game, the fundamental part of that game was always about making the highest choice, and then the next highest choice, and then the next highest choice in every moment, in every day. That's how you exit that old paradigm, by always making the highest choice for self. And it's not a selfish choice. That's not a highest choice. The highest choice is to choose love. It's not to put up with things, but it's to choose a yes or to choose a no from a state of love within you. Not a pretend state of love, not the ego's idea of love. You know, the ego can really, deceive you in a sense. If it's a pretense of love, it's actually having love within you and coming from that love, and it's a loving yes from within you or a loving no from within you, and that is the highest choice. So it's not that you have to put up with anything. It's just that you make your choices through your heart and not your head. And they are the highest choices. It's to lovingly accept that what is outside just is. It's already created, it's playing out, it just is. And if you're going to interact with any of it, let it be from your heart. If you're choosing to interact with any of it, any of the chaos, let it be from your heart. But just have the soul wisdom of choosing what to interact with, because with more chaos that's going to arise outside, within social media, within lots of different areas of life, closer to home, friends, family, partners, etc. Have the soul wisdom of knowing when to enter the ring and when to stay away from it. The soul knows intuitively when something can be spoken or when to stay quiet. And the soul, speaking through the human, if it speaks through the human, will only ever speak and be from love. So there's sometimes a time to speak and a time to just stay silent, not enter the ring, but just observe it and allow it to just pass by, just pass through you. Okay, so I'll leave it there, and sending you all so much love. Even though we're talking about the chaos, there's so much happening in terms of people's states of consciousness, in terms of their stages. So many more are now choosing love that didn't choose love a few years ago. It's beautiful what's happening in the quietness of the whole of what's going on. It's beautiful. And this timeline of tribulation, that I always call it that, it really has been, and it is about people returning to that love and to that faith in whatever name they wish to call the Creator, God, Abba, Source. It really doesn't matter what you call it. But the tribulation timeline actually brings up in people the difficulties and the despair and the pain and the sorrow, for them to question their reality, for them to turn to that one source that is already within them. That's what the tribulation timeline has been about and continues to be about. And some people will continue to resist that. And that's okay. That's okay. It's just the seeing of everything outside of you just is. It's the honoring of every soul. Whether that person knows about their soul or not, you see the God within them. You feel the God within them that's almost hidden, if you like, from people until they realize it within them. It's there in everyone. And hence the timeline of tribulation, and then what comes after that. It is, after that long period, which is about 3 years from last March. So we're 15 months into it now. But what's happening is more and more people are choosing love. More and more people have faced despair and are turning to God. But it's a very quiet movement because it's not from the ego. It's from being. Sentience. We're returning to sentient being. Because that's what those higher frequencies are all about, this sentient. They're through feeling them and becoming them and then living from them whilst we have a body. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity for everyone. And there's no right or wrong choice. God is experiencing everyone as itself. God doesn't judge anyone. And that's what each return to. That non-judgment, that peace, that joy, that happiness and laughter and fun. Seeing and knowing the divine within everything and everyone. That's what we're headed towards, one by one. So I shall shut up, and I hope that supports, just as a little heads up. I couldn't just receive that information and not share it because, if you're aware, then, it's good to be aware. And that's why my consciousness tells Mandy, as a heads up, look, it's going to get more chaotic out there. Yeah. So if you can just be aware of it, not just today, but tomorrow and next week and the week after and the week after that, stay in awareness that the chaos is going to increase. It's designed that way. And just to honor everybody's journey, but choose what to engage with. What is the highest choice for you? It's always about that. What is the highest choice for you? And that highest choice will always include love, but not just for the self, but for all. For all. It's all inclusive. It's totally one. It's inclusive of everyone. And then just allow everybody else their journeys, the way they have chosen it as soul level. Honor their soul. I love you. God bless. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.